Facebook land. It's your main man, H Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. Happy Labor Day to you all. I want to talk about 3 things that you must do here in America if you're going to build wealth. Again, that's 3 things that you must do here in America if you're going to build wealth. I know it's Labor Day. Some of you guys are kicking it at the barbecues and family in town, or you're headed out of town, but you know, this thing never stops for me, man. It's all about equipping you with what you need to do to build that lasting legacy. Somebody has to make some hard sacrifices so that the next generation can move forward. So today we're talking about 3 things that you must do here in America if you're going to build wealth. And we're talking about wealth, not riches, because we know that there are a lot of rich ball players, but there are not many wealthy ball players, right? Because riches are measured in dollars. Wealth is measured in time. How long can you live if you no longer were able to use your labor to generate income, right? Wealthy people create what's called non-wage income. So we're talking about 3 things that you must do in order to build wealth here in America, and pretty much these same 3 things you'll need these same 3 things all over the world, because the world has taken on the American mentality of capitalism for the most part. So these 3 things you must understand if you're going to build wealth. Number 1, you have to understand taxes and get control of your tax liability. Point blank period. If you're like most Americans, you are making 100% of your income through a job or through your labor efforts. If you do not understand the tax code in America, it doesn't matter how much money you get your hands on, they will ultimately find a way to tax that income to death, to where you won't have anything left to pass on to future generations. So again, we're talking about 3 things that you must do if you're going to build wealth here in America. And I'm your man, H Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. So do me a favor, share this stream. If you know other people, if you're the kind of person that people come to you for financial advice, share this stream, because people who follow you will likely like to learn the 3 things that they must do to build wealth here in America. Number 1, you must understand the tax code. The tax code was written for business people by business people. So in order to take advantage of it, you have to understand it. I teach that the tax code is the number 1 wealth building tool in all of the world. If you don't understand that, then that's where you should start. Start by understanding the tax code. Start looking into how much taxes wealthy people actually make, and you'll start to understand how they're able to not only build wealth, but how they are able to grow wealth and ultimately protect that wealth and pass that wealth down to the next generation. So you have got to understand taxes if you're going to build wealth in America. The second thing that you're going to have to do, or you must do to build wealth in America, is you have to understand debt. You first have to get out of any personal debt obligations that you have. Get completely out of debt, including your mortgage. Why? Because debt is the enemy of your wealth. You've got to get out of debt personally, right? But we're talking about 3 things you must do to build wealth. Get out of debt personally, and then understand how to leverage debt to actually build wealth. There is a such thing as good debt and bad debt. I believe that 99.9999% of all personal debt is bad debt. But you must also understand the power in leveraging debt to acquire assets to grow wealth. Give you an example. If you have the ability to buy a 10-unit apartment building, that unit is on sale for $100,000. The actual value of that unit is $200,000. If you have the ability to borrow $100,000 to purchase that unit, that would be an example of good debt because you're leveraging debt to acquire an asset. You keep those 10 units filled. Now the people who are renting those apartment houses are paying off that mortgage. Now you are acquiring an asset using debt. So you have to understand how to leverage debt to build wealth. But most people are trying to use personal debt, right? You want to get out of debt personally, but then learn how to leverage debt to acquire assets that will in turn pay back the debt, right? That's one of the keys. So if you're just tuning in, I'm H Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class, wealth strategist, author, serial entrepreneur, right? I've been an entrepreneur since I was old enough to wield a wake and push a lawnmower, man. I've been getting it. And now I'm teaching other people how to get it in a more strategic fashion and less of a sales-oriented fashion. But make no mistake about it, if you can't sell, you can't build wealth. So at some point, you're going to need that as a skill too. But we're talking about the 3 things that you must do in order to build wealth in America. Number 1, you've got to understand this tax code. If you do not, you will be taxed to death. Point blank, period. The second thing you have to understand is how debt will rob you personally of your ability to grow wealth, I should say, and you have to understand how to actually leverage debt to actually build wealth. It stops. I was listening intensely. Michelle Bradshaw, hopefully this stream comes back on. But we're talking about the 3 things that you must do in order to build wealth here in America and pretty much around the world, because the world has taken on America's capitalistic ways and systems. So if you can build wealth here in America, you can build wealth anywhere capitalism exists, right? So number 1, you have to understand the tax code in this country. Number 2, you have to understand the debt game, right? Get on the right side of debt. You can actually use debt to leverage and to gain wealth. Number 2 is debt. Understand that you need to first get out of personal debt, and then you start understanding how to leverage debt to actually build wealth and acquire assets. I gave the example of buying a 10-unit apartment house. That apartment building sells for $100,000. It's valued at $200,000. If I had to borrow $100,000 to buy that asset, I certainly would. That's an example of good debt, because now the renters or the tenants in that building are paying off that debt. And plus you have instant equity because you're on the hook for $100,000, but it's actually worth $200,000. So your net worth actually went up the moment you acquired that property because you have a $100,000 asset, right? Now, the last and the final thing that you must do if you're going to build wealth in America is you will have to get into some sort of business enterprise. Guys, there is not a single wealthy person on this planet outside of someone who has hit the lottery and maybe got some sort of inheritance. There's not a single person on this planet who's acquired wealth that has not done it by using some sort of business system. So you have to understand business is the new retirement plan. Entrepreneurship is the new retirement. If you're not willing to step out there and get in some sort of business, you're going to struggle to build wealth. We talked about number 1 is taxes. Guess what? The tax code was written for business people by business people. So in order to take advantage of the number 1 wealth building tool in the world, you have to be in business to take advantage of the tax code. I'm talking about literally being able to write off 50, 60, 70% of your lifestyle. That saves you money. That allows you to hold on to more of your money so you can have the capital to lay down the foundation to build your empire. But if you don't understand that entrepreneurship and business is necessary, then it's going to be tough for you to build wealth. We've all been given gifts, talents, and special abilities by our Creator. You have to learn how to turn those gifts and abilities into an income stream. Wealthy people do this. They find 1 or 2 ways to get paid for 1 or 2 things that they love to do. I'm going to say it again. The best way to wealth through entrepreneurship is find 1 or 2 ways to get paid for 1 or 2 things that you love to do. I'm a youth basketball coach. I love basketball. I have always loved the game. I found 1 or 2 ways to get paid for being involved with basketball, because that's something that I see myself being involved with until I'm in the grave, right? So you have to understand that entrepreneurship is the new retirement plan. Start looking at ways to make extra money. Now, I'm a huge home business advocate. I believe that everyone should have a home-based business because you're able to use the tax code to build wealth. I'm a huge fan of network marketing. Network marketing opportunities, if you find one that lines up with your passion, will give you the wherewithal to start building wealth. Why? Because most people can't walk away from their job and start a business. A network marketing opportunity allows you the opportunity to start learning how to be an entrepreneur and at the same time make some additional income, an additional stream of money coming into your household, and take advantage of the tax code while you're learning how to undo employee think and start thinking like a business owner. Most cases, most network marketing opportunities, you can do an hour, maybe 2 hours a day and start really building some momentum, laying some foundation for yourself. The other thing that network marketing companies are really, really good at is training on mindset. You have to have a certain mindset. Not everybody is like me. I was born an entrepreneur. I know it for a fact. I was born this way. But you can develop the mentality of an entrepreneur if you're hanging around entrepreneurs. If you're hanging around people who are aspire to be entrepreneurs. So guys, I don't want to keep you too long. I realize it's the holiday. Some of you guys are getting out, firing up the grill. You got family in town, or you traveled out of town to be with family and things of that nature. But let me just recap really quickly. 3 things you must do in order to build wealth here in America. Number 1, if you don't understand the tax code, this country will tax you to death. I promise you that. Understand the tax code and how to get the tax code working in your favor. Number 2, understand debt. First of all, how it's robbing you personally, so you want to get out of any personal debt obligations that you have. Get that stuff paid off, including your mortgage. I know people tell you to carry a mortgage so you can use the interest to write off. Well, hell, you don't have to use the interest to write off. You get the same write-offs when you make donations to charities. So if you were paying $15,000 a year in interest and you was getting that as a write-off, donate $15,000 a year to a charity. You don't have to have a $1,000 mortgage note to be able to get that write-off. So miss me with the I carry a mortgage because I'm writing off the interest rate. You don't have to have a $1,000 note. You can donate to charity to get that same write-off, get that same effect. So understand that personal debt you should get rid of, but also know the real power of debt. Use debt to leverage debt to acquire income producing assets. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a difference between good debt and bad debt. If I had it to do over again, I wouldn't buy a mortgage. I wouldn't acquire a mortgage for a single family house. Don't make sense, because that's sucking money out of my household every month. I buy a duplex, a 4-family flat, 8 family. I would live in one unit and use the tenants to rent out the rest. And now they're paying for an asset that I will own and leverage forever. Let me know when you are going to have your next session. Malik, St. Louis, I will be doing a wealth building workshop in St. Louis Sunday, September the 18th. Now, I know football season will be in full swing, but I'm telling you, it's cool to sit back and be able to watch other millionaires run up and down the field and do their thing. But I'm talking about teaching you how to acquire wealth so you don't watch them on TV. You travel from city to city and you sit in the stands, you sit in the boxes and you watch football the way it was intended to be watched. But you got to have vision to be able to see that kind of thing. So that's what we're talking about. But I will be doing a workshop in St. Louis, September the 18th. That's a Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. Malik, I will inbox you the details on that. So again, 3 steps you must do. You have to understand the tax code in this country. The tax code is written for business people, by business people, and in my opinion is the #1 wealth building tool in all the world. You just have to know how to use it. Just like most tools, right? You take any tool in the hardware store, and there's only a handful of people who really know how to effectively use that tool. Same way with the tax code. That's why I'm here. I want to teach you how to effectively use that tool to build wealth. Number 2, you have to understand debt. Get out of personal debt, but also understand how to leverage debt to acquire income producing assets. And then number 3, if you do not have a business in 2016, you're just leaving money on the table. Thank you. That duplex idea is something I thought of way after I realized that me buying my first house was a joke. Hey, Norman, I get it, bro. I get it, man. So maybe me and you need to connect, Norman, because I have a way. If you partner with me, I can introduce you to our financial success membership and how you can use strategies like what I teach to free up the cash that you need to go ahead and buy that duplex and still keep your home at the same time. And that way somebody is paying the mortgage on the duplex and they're helping you pay your mortgage. So are you coming to Chicago? Gregory, good question. I will be in Chicago September the 12th, but I'm actually there for a radio interview. I will be in town that afternoon, which is a Monday. If you want to hook up, send me a inbox, man, and we can do some one-on-one stuff, or maybe you can bring a couple friends, man. We can chop it up over a cup of coffee or something like that. But that's Monday, September 12th. And basically you'll be in a position, man, to get some one-on-one time with me. I don't traditionally do one-on-one because it's just not effective. I can do this and talk to 16 people at one time. But I would definitely love to meet you, Gregory. Just send me an inbox, man, if you're free Monday, September 12th. Around 3 o'clock, man, we'll chop it up before I go in for that radio interview. Appreciate that. So I'm going to jump out of here, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want more information on our financial success membership, I want you to just comment more info below or send me an inbox, man. But only if you're serious. I don't know about you guys, but my time is my most valuable